Imagine trusting a police officer to keep your streets safe, only to discover he was the one hunting you. For nearly 2 decades, women disappeared across Siberia, one by one, vanishing into the frozen silence. Their killer, a respected cop with a badge by day and blood on his hands by night. If dark secrets and twisted minds fascinate you, hit subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Angarsk City, Eastern Siberia, Russia, winter 1998. Snow fell silently like a mourning veil over the entire city. Bitter winds swept through deserted alleys, forcing even the drunkards to seek shelter. Streetlights flickered, casting pale beams onto the frozen roads, like the eyes of someone who hadn't slept in days. A rickety Lada police car crept down Avenue number 3. Behind the wheel was a man in uniform, his expression unnervingly calm. He gazed at a young woman stumbling along the sidewalk, her messy hair, high heels sinking into the snow, and a threadbare coat no match for the degrees sea cold. "What's she doing out here this late?" he muttered, not out of concern, but something else entirely. He turned the car around and quietly followed her. Pulling up beside her, he lowered the window and offered a gentle smile. "It's freezing. Let me take you home." The woman hesitated, but the biting cold, her loneliness, and the comfort of seeing a uniform made her nod. She opened the door and climbed in. The moment the door shut, the click of the automatic lock echoed. No one ever saw that woman again, not a single soul. 1 week later, suburbs of Angarsk. The snow-covered pine forest stood eerily still, like a frozen painting of death. But behind that quiet shell, local police had just made a chilling discovery. The body of a young woman dumped in a snowy field, barely 2 km from a residential area. Her coat had been torn apart. A leather belt was wrapped around her neck. Her body bore not just bruises, but deep, cold axe wounds. The most horrifying detail, however, was her eyes, wide open, frozen in fear, as if in her final moment she had realized. The man who killed her was someone she trusted. No witnesses, no camera footage, no suspicious tire tracks. The killer clearly knew the terrain. His actions were precise, calm, and merciless, as if he had done this before. The case file was shelved, just like dozens of unsolved cases buried in the dusty archives of the police station. No one knew. This was just the beginning of a blood-soaked nightmare. 1998, Angarsk Police Station number 2. Mikhail Popkov, Lieutenant, Night Patrol Unit, entered the locker room just before midnight. He took off his uniform, hung it neatly, and pulled out an old cloth bag. Inside was a small axe, its blade polished to a mirror shine. He sat silently, staring at it. No expression, but in his eyes, a haze of old memories began to gather. Years ago, Popkov suspected his wife of infidelity. He didn't confront her. He didn't lash out. He just went silent. And from that silence, a twisted belief was born. Fallen women don't deserve to live. Every night shift became an opportunity. While his colleagues clocked out, while streetlights dimmed and the city fell asleep, Popkov began to hunt. His badge and uniform disarmed his victims. Sometimes he offered them rides. Sometimes he claimed they needed to come in for questioning. But the real destination was always some remote place. Woods, abandoned lots, snowfields near the river. And there, the darkness swallowed their screams. After each kill, Popkov returned home as a model husband, cooking dinner, cleaning, kissing his daughter goodnight. No one, not even his wife, suspected that the man sleeping next to them was the ghost haunting their streets. April 2000, Irkutsk Criminal Investigation Office. The 17th victim was found. Her body lay across a dirt path deep in the forest, 7 km from the city. No ID, no drag marks, brutal stab wounds, and a deep axe gash slicing from her shoulder blade down to her lower back. Police took photos, gathered evidence. But again, the case was filed as unidentified. No witness, no motive, just another murder buried by Siberia's icy silence. But one man paid attention. Detective Igor Rubtsov of the Major Crimes Unit stared at a pinboard filled with photos of victims. From 1992 to 2000, same age group, same method, all near Angarsk. Always on Fridays or Saturdays after 10 p.m. Someone's hunting, every weekend, right here in our city. He mapped crime scenes, traced old traffic footage. One name stood out. Mikhail Popkov, former night patrol officer, retired early due to health issues. Rubtsov reviewed Popkov's employment file. He had worked night shifts for 8 consecutive years, perfectly matching the murder timeline. Even more curious, after Popkov's retirement, the killings stopped. For a while. In 2005, another body turned up, same patterns. But Popkov was no longer a cop. He now worked night shifts as a factory security guard. Rubtsov marked his board with red ink. If he's back, it could happen again next week. 2006, Irkutsk Forensic Lab. For the first time in over a decade, police recovered DNA from a crime scene, a blood-stained hair under the victim's fingernail, as if she had fought to the bitter end. The sample was run through CODIS, the national DNA system. No matches. He's never been arrested, no criminal record, might be military, police, someone protected, Rubtsov mused. Stalemate. So Rubtsov proposed a bold idea. Collect voluntary DNA samples from all men who had served in the police, military, or civil defense in Angarsk since 1990. Nearly 4,000 people. Superiors pushed back. Do you have any proof to suspect the entire state apparatus? I'm not accusing everyone. I'm trying to find the one man who knows how to hide inside it. Eventually, the proposal was greenlit as part of a routine medical screening. Popkov was invited. He smiled, extended his arm for a blood sample. No hesitation. Rubtsov didn't know it yet. The monster was standing right in front of him, in plain clothes, with eyes cold as the Siberian wind. And when Popkov walked away, he knew time was running out. March 2012, Irkutsk DNA Lab. A soft chime echoed across the lab monitor. Match found, 100% DNA hit. Rubtsov stood up in shock. All eyes turned to the name on screen. Mikhail Popkov. Born 1964, former Angarsk police officer. Silence, no one spoke. The man who once wore a badge, who protected the very streets he tainted with blood, was Russia's most prolific serial killer. Rubtsov reviewed his file. Popkov had resigned in 1998 due to mental instability after a car accident. But the murders had continued, more brutal than ever. He wasn't just a cop, he had criminal investigation training. He knew how to erase traces, mislead, and strike when no one was looking. This wasn't about lust. He killed out of a warped sense of righteousness. Popkov once told a colleague, "I hate loose women. This society needs someone to clean up the trash." He was summoned quietly. No handcuffs, no sirens. In the interrogation room, Rubtsov laid out photos of the first 29 victims. Popkov smirked, calm. "So, you finally found me." The interrogation room held 3, Popkov, Rubtsov, and a tape recorder. Dim yellow light cast long shadows like claws reaching for Popkov. Rubtsov began softly. "We have your DNA on 29 victims, but I believe that's not the full number. So, how many?" Popkov squinted, then laughed. A dry, hollow sound like wind through a cave. 29. No, you haven't seen it all." Then he confessed, freely. He had killed 82 people. All women, except one fellow officer and a man searching for his missing wife. The crimes spanned from 1992 to 2010, almost 2 decades. Some victims were never reported missing. I only did what needed to be done. Drunken, wandering women neglecting their families, they didn't deserve to live. I was just cleaning up the city. He described each crime, horrifying detail. How he posed as a driver lured them in. The axes, hammers, screwdrivers he used. Some were raped before death. Others were slaughtered in silence. Even Rubtsov, hardened by countless interrogations, had to pause the tape multiple times. "Why did you stop?" he asked. Popkov shrugged. "I didn't stop, I just got old." 2018, the trial of Mikhail Popkov. Held in a modest courtroom in Irkutsk. No international media, no Western press, but inside, every breath was taut as a wire. The benches were full of victims' families. Some were elderly. Some were young women born after their mothers were murdered. One woman trembled as she read her statement. My mother vanished in 1999. I was 5. Every year I searched. I posted her photo at bus stops, on lampposts. I asked the homeless. Then police told me she was a prostitute. I cut myself out of shame. Today, I learned she was just buying a birthday cake for me. Another man sobbed. My wife died by his hands. My daughter never trusted men again. And I lost faith in justice because he was a cop. A cop. Each testimony was a blade, cutting into the mask Popkov had worn for 20 years. He sat inside the glass security box, expressionless. Some said he smiled. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. No cheers, no outcry, only silence, heavy as the first snow blanketing Angarsk, his bloody playground. Some say Mikhail Popkov was a beast. But beasts don't wear uniforms, patrol streets, kiss their daughters goodnight, then go out hunting in the name of morality. Popkov wasn't a mythological monster. He was human. And perhaps that's the most terrifying part. He was the product of prejudice, where unworthy women were deemed disposable. The child of a broken system, where a model officer went unquestioned. And a reflection of a society that forgot how to grieve for the powerless, because they weren't respectable enough to mourn. The werewolf killer didn't hunt in forests. He hid in plain sight, wore a badge, shook hands every Monday morning. So if he's not the monster, who is? The system that shielded him, the warped beliefs that fueled him, or our own indifference? Leave your thoughts below. And if you believe this story should be told, please share it.